Hey, what's up? And welcome into Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Thanks so much for checking out the podcast and checking us out on YouTube as well. YouTube.com. Look for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment for everything that we do on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We're presented by our fine folks over at Shopify. Yes, Shopify. Your business starts with Shopify. Try 3 days free, then $1 a month for 3 months. What are you waiting for? Go to Shopify. My family uses Shopify, and you should as well. They are a fine sponsor and partner with us on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. So what I want you to do is, whether you're listening to this or watching it on YouTube, make sure you click that link. Use my link if you're going to use Shopify. They work with us. I want you to work with them. Shopify. The link is in the bio. Thank you so much for being with us here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We got so much that we got to get to here on our show. We'll hear from Charles Taylor, a downtrodden Bulls fan. We will talk to him about the Bulls as they lose to the Indiana Pacers 113-110. We'll also talk about the trade deadline in the NBA. Are the Bulls going to pick up the phone? Actually pick up the phone and do something at this deadline? There's some rumor and innuendo about that, and we'll get to that. So if you're a Bulls fan or if you're an NBA fan, this is for you. By the way, this is some breaking news about me. How about that? Something about me. So the Chicago Sun-Times has its powerful broadcasters and media people every year under Jeff Agrest from the Chicago Sun-Times. And he has his top 20. I've never been in the top 20 for Jeff Agrest as far as top broadcasters or content people until this year. Your boy came in at number 16. So there you have it, Charles Taylor. There I am at number 16. I've underrated Hoodie for way too long. He and Kaplan, talking about David Kaplan, my partner on ESPN Chicago, weekday morning, 6 to 9. Make a great team on ESPN 1000. He's finally calling winning basketball at UIC. So it's a little shade to the Flames there too. But thank you, Jeff, and thanks for the Sun-Times for even mentioning me, because you see that NR right there, Charles? You see that NR? You know what that means?
Not rated.
Not rated. Yes, never been on a Sun-Times list for top broadcasters. But it's not about me. It's about our viewers and our listeners for Under the Hood. It really is. I wish I could say that's me, but because we have busted our ass here at Under the Hood, busting our ass every single morning on ESPN Chicago, all of a sudden we're turning heads. But I think a lot of it is here for this podcast and what we do on ESPN Chicago. So thank you for turning some heads for Jeff Agrest to dare put his fingers on the keyboard and say, maybe Jonathan Hood is in the top 20. So I never really think about those lists, but it's good that people came to me and texted me and told me about it, Charles. So all good. Very happy about that.
Well, congratulations, first of all. Secondly, I mean, you should have been on that list years ago, but that's neither here nor there. But no, congratulations to you and all the stuff that you're doing on Under the Hood.
Well, thank you, and you're one of the reasons why that the channel has been successful and what we do on ESPN Chicago as well. It's good to see you, sir. Make sure that because Charles supports us, he's part of our team here at Under the Hood, thectjreport.net. Check him out on TikTok for the Lonely Housewives, as well as on other social media platforms as he cries about the Chicago Bulls. Well, we got a lot to talk about, sir, when it comes to the NBA. But first, man, there's a lot here. I just got off the phone with someone that's executive in the NBA for a team that's in contention in the East. As far as I can take it. So all I can give you is like someone from the East I just talked to before we hit record on our podcast, talked to me about the state of the Bulls or what they could do. But first, let's talk about a team that is trying to tank, okay? The Indiana Pacers. They understand that without, some of their big guns, with Tyrese Halliburton being out, that this is a lost season. They're not going to be anywhere close to where we were last couple of years. So Carlisle understands it's time to tank. And so the Bulls need to know that too in that spot, right? You are up 14 points in the fourth quarter, relinquish the lead and lose the game 113-110. I just want to get your thoughts about what happened.
Another complete collapse by the Bulls. And we've seen this, unfortunately, time and time again this season. Either they've gone into the fourth quarter with a lead, or they're only trailing by, a couple of points here or there, and looking to, maybe make a run in the fourth quarter to try and, steal a ball game. And it can't finish. They just can't finish. And it is wildly, just wildly irritating to continue to watch this team continue to wet the bed in the fourth quarter when you have chances to close out games. You could use excuses, but I won't use excuses, but they could use excuses of, oh, well, Kobe was hurt and this person was hurt and that person. You got the team healthy.
Yes.
The team was there last night, with the exception of Trey Jones. But if you're looking for Trey Jones, to close out a game for you, then you've got problems as a basketball club. Unconscionable that they could blow that 14-point lead. Indiana was literally trying to gift wrap that win for you, and he was like, "Nope, hold my beer. Nah, y'all got it. Y'all can have this game. We don't want it." And that's, I think, if you're a Bulls fan, that's the irritating part of it, that they somehow continue to go through these stretches where either they're turning the ball over, they're taking ill-advised 3-point shots when they shouldn't be, especially with a 14-point lead. They're not closing out on open shooters. They're allowing easy, fast break baskets. Hoodie, they were +5 on the boards going into the fourth quarter. They were +16 in the paint going into the fourth quarter. How do you give that game away?
I don't know. I don't know. Like, the one thing about the Bulls is the defensive resistance is not up to par. I know the Bulls can score the ball. I mean, they have great pace. They can score the ball. We know that. It's just the idea that on the other end, your guards are too slow. They can't get over, giving up wide open jump shots, wide open threes on the wings. And so, I mean, that's just been the story, man. So it's so funny that we celebrate Derrick Rose and those Tom Thibodeau teams. And anytime that you saw the Bulls give up 100 or more, it was shocking. You're at the end of your chair. You're like, whoa, what? They gave up 100? Like, okay, this is a game now, right? Because the Bulls, those teams, they may not have been the most talented teams, but they're so good defensively. And so now on a regular basis, it's commonplace for the Bulls to relinquish leads.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like I said, we've seen this throughout the course of the season, even with winning streaks. We can even go back to the first game of the season. They were up, 20 plus on Detroit and had to sweat out that win on opening night. This is what we've seen time and time again from this team. And it's what we've been talking about for the last really 3, 4, 5 years. This is a 500 or 2 games below or 4 games below team that's going to struggle to once again make the play-in tournament. And we keep going through these same circles over and over again. And that's why I advocated for them to blow it up once they got rid of DeMar and once they got rid of Zach LaVine. Just blow it up. Let's start over. Let's do something. But here we are, 23 and 24. They're going to keep grinding their wheels, and AK is going to come out at the trade deadline and be like, no, we really like our team. It just haven't been, together, for a good stretch, even though they have.
It's a strange quirk in the schedule for the Bulls. There's more angst for you, this week. The schedule's supposed to be different these days. The Bulls are playing 5 games in 7 nights. Like they're playing, as we talk about this, they're playing the Heat 3 times because you had to have that makeup game from the rain out at the United Center, right? So they're playing the Heat Thursday, the 29th, the 31st on Saturday, and then the Heat on the 1st of February. Like they're playing them a ton here, but they're playing a lot of games in a row. Like, this was a time where we're done with 3 games in 4 nights. This is, I think it's 7 out of 10. I don't know if you have the schedule from you in front of you. I think that's what it is, 7 out of 10. That's a ton of games. So that defense doesn't get better. Those legs get tired.
Oh, very tired. And you're going up against a Miami team that has your number and has had your number for a number of years. I think lost by 36 the last time they saw the Heat. Yeah. So that's why I asked last night. I was like, are we about to head into another slide where this is 4, 5, 6 losses in a row. And then they got to fight and scrap and claw their way just to get back to 500. And we just keep going through this endless cycle of mid, and it just never gets better.
So we'll circle back again with talking about Billy Donovan, because out of all the coaches and managers that we have seen, Charles, in this city, I've never seen someone as Teflon as Billy Donovan. I understand that everybody's got new paper, right? Billy Donovan has a secret extension to his contract.
Mhm.
So is Mark Eversley, and so is Arturas Karnisovas. So, but I mean, so Billy is the only coach that I can remember in a long time where it's like, nope, it's not on him. You just roll the ball out to mediocrity, get yourself in the playing game, get bounced out. 1, 2, 3, Cancun. When does that stop? When does it stop where you have like a fresh coat of paint on that bench?
It stops once ownership decides they want to be done with it. And I don't know when that's going to happen, because ownership seems to be completely fine with the job that Billy Donovan is doing. And I don't understand how. You and I have been here long enough to know that coaches have been fired for way less.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
to Billy Donovan, I don't, does he have pictures of Ronsdorf? Like, does he know their most innermost secrets? Like, I can't believe that he is nowhere close to being on the hot seat, and that they're just completely comfortable with them just middling around 500 all year. And how long is that extension? Is another 3, 4 years, I believe, on that extension. So yeah, until ownership decides enough is enough, or maybe people just need to stop coming to the United Center and watching that mid product. But I know they won't, because Benny the Bull is throwing popcorn on everybody, and it's a great experience for the kids to go out to a game. But something has to give, because you can't keep doing this when you have other teams in the league that are flying past you. 4 or 5 years ago, we thought of the Pistons as a joke, and they were a joke of an organization. Now they're a contender in the East.
CJ, tell her 6 minutes is good enough. Good 6 minutes. Yeah,
Right.
Just tell her, set it for about 6 minutes. It's fine.
6 minutes. All right.
Yeah, tell her that's good enough. It's good for my chili. Thank you. Nothing like sounds of home on the podcast.
That's right.
A little beep beep. Okay, 6 minutes is fine. No more than that. You don't want it popping all over the microwave.
No. Because then I have to clean it. So
I tell her I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Okay, so here's what it comes down to. So I'm watching these games like you are. You're agonizing over them more because you got to do your post game wrap up, on the report. So I understand it. I'm watching it just like, I watch a lot of basketball, college and pro, and I'm just watching a team over and over and over again every year that does not have enough star power to be able to get over the hump. This Bulls team can be able to get themselves in a position to get in that play-in again, which is that nasty basketball abyss, that basketball hell, and for them to be able to play the Heat or someone and get bounced out again. This happens because the East is weak toward the bottom. That's one. And just good enough for the Bulls to be able to retain everyone there in the front offices just to keep a couple lights on at the United Center in late April. And that's not the story, man. The story is to be able to be in the top 5, top 4. And if you're not going to be that, you need to be in the lottery. See, Indiana didn't want to win that basketball game, but the Bulls gave it to them. So when you have the Washingtons and the Charlottes and Indiana, in particular, I mean, these teams understand we got to stay at the bottom so we can get quality draft picks. This is a battle for Boozer for some of these teams, right? They want Carlos's son. So just this, but the Bulls are just not smart as an organization. And they're not smart because they can't pick a direction. What will happen is the Bulls will pull the nose up on this season, just enough to get into the play-in. And Arturas Karnisovas said, well, the reason why we kept continuity is because we played better down the stretch. We heard that same story over and over again. And so it's really basketball malfeasance on the part of the Bulls organization and Michael Reinsdorf.
You hit the nail on the head, and I can't think of any good reason as to why they continue to, be in this hamster wheel of playing continuity on a year in year out basis. Like there has to be someone in this organization that has to like really take a step back and look and say, what are we doing, and why do we continue to do this? Like there's a reason why no one takes the Bulls seriously as an NBA franchise, because they're completely happy with being right where they are. And you get out, AK will get out on TV and you know talk this nonsense about continuity and loving our young core and believing that this young core can turn into something when you don't have a star player. You barely have a top 30 player in Kobe White. uh, you don't have assets that you can really move other really than Kobe White. I mean, I guess you can move Josh Giddey, but do you want to? You're pinning your hopes on Buzelis. He's supposed to be your star, uh, to I guess be the foundation of whatever it is that you're doing. You've got a 35-year-old center that's you know I don't want to say past his prime, but past the point where he can bring any real value in some type of a trade. So you've got nothing to leverage to either like try to move up in the East and make yourselves a real contender, or to just say, hey, let's just blow it all up and tank and do what we need to do to get a high lottery pick. You're just literally stuck in the middle. And
Yeah.
that's maddening if you're a Bulls fan, because where does it end? It doesn't. And as long as AK is there, continuing to sit there at the end of April talking about, I believe in continuity, I believe in this young core, as this young core starts to get older now. Kobe's a veteran. This isn't year one, year two Kobe. This isn't year one, year two Io DeSumo. You know, this isn't year one, year two of some of these other players. Patrick Williams is a 6-year vet now.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So
That's like nephew coming over and be like,
yeah,
man, look how tall you've become.
right.
It's like, man, you getting big. That's like Patrick Williams. Like, I can't believe he's been in here 6 years stealing money from the Bulls.
Yeah. So that's the part where you just have to look around and say, okay, AK Mark Eversley, we really need to have a talk. We need to have a discussion. What is your game plan? What is your vision? What is your plan for the next 3-4 years of this team? Because you can't keep losing to Miami in the playing game.
There's no nostalgia you can have with this group if you continue to struggle, right? You won't
Mhm.
have any Derrick Rose poo nights with this group under Billy Donovan. You won't have that, right? As we are presented by Shopify, make sure that you click the link that is in the bio. Shopify, that's exactly where you go. If my family uses it, Charles' family uses it, you should use it. Well, Shopify, that's where our money is going, to Shopify. So I'm gonna spin it positive, and then we got to go back to the news that I gleaned here over the last couple hours regarding the future of the Bulls. So we should talk about Derrick Rose, because we talk about great moments, Charles, and we talk about the youngest MVP ever, and we watch a grit and grind team under Tom Thibodeau, and that whole night is kind of quintessential Bulls, in which, hey, let's roll a little nostalgia out there, a little feel good, make you feel like the good old days of winning basketball instead of this crap that we watch on a nightly basis. But I want to get your thoughts about it, because I thought that it was a perfect night. The Bulls they know how to do this well, the nostalgia
Oh yeah.
nights, right? Oh, they got that down. But I want to get your overall thoughts and what you thought of the celebration of Derrick Rose's career.
It's interesting. Um, you actually had people on social media wondering, should Rose actually get his jersey retired, which is kind of wild.
Oh, it is.
Um, to even make that suggestion. It was a great ceremony, uh, and to see virtually all of his teammates come out to show him support really just shows how much Derek meant to not only the organization, but his teammates and coaches. Like some of these cats, you had Brad Miller, you hadn't seen him in years, and he rolled through, to show love to Pooh. It was Derek got quite emotional. I mean, as he should. And it just meant something special because he was the hometown kid that did good and brought the Bulls back to relevance. So to have his number up there with Pippen and Jordan and Bob, excuse me, Bob Love, that is going to be something that he's going to treasure. And Luol Deng, I thought him saying, "Hey, this is our championship.
Mhm.
Your number up here in the rafters. That's our trophy." That was powerful right there, and everybody felt it.
Yeah, I love Tom Thibodeau, and he's up there telling the story about the importance of Derrick Rose, which is cool. That's one thing, but just Derrick Rose just want everyone to know that at every barbershop, every corner that he walks, everywhere he goes in life, when they say, "Hey, there goes Derrick Rose," Thibodeau fucked up your career. You know, who made sure it was very clear, like that's not the reason it happened. I just got injured, and he wanted to make sure that Thibodeau was not on the hook for his career. Why would he be out there? Well, let me just tell you the reason why that I never bought into Thibodeau injuring Derrick Rose or him been out there too long. You know why, Charles? Because I'm a Bulls fan and I saw Michael Jordan and those teams. You know what they
Yep.
did? They made sure that the lead was about 25. And then in the fourth quarter, they put the ice on the knees and be like, "Yeah, put the bench in. We're good. The bench will hold the deficit. We're good because we got to get out to the party." So they put the ice on first on the bench. You remember this vividly, right?
Oh
And
yes.
because they wanted to get ahead, they were like, "Okay, we'll do the media. We'll get to the club, get to the party sooner instead of having to sit there in the locker room, ice the knees, then get dressed." And no, they got ahead of it because they knew the bench would hold it down. And so the starters need to be out there against the 76ers. There was no pulling him with 15. There's Doug Collins on the other side, man. You don't know what that game was going to be. So it was just unfortunate for the injury. It derailed the Bulls, but Tom was not the reason.
Nah, and I'm glad Derek, spoke up about that, because that's been, the long held theory of, Tibbs, if he had just taken Derek out, we were up comfortably. Now you were up by 12 with like 3 minutes left to go,
Yeah.
against a solid Philadelphia team, where a couple of made baskets here or there, could have made that a much more entertaining game than it had to. And
Mhm.
it's just unfortunate that had to, that happened to Derek because, he's the biggest what if when you talk about NBA stars. I know we've talked about Penny and, maybe Tracy McGrady, Brandon Roy, some others. But for me, Derrick Rose is the biggest what if. What if he could have stayed healthy? How far could he have taken the Bulls? Who knows? Maybe he does, win a title and really just puts the stamp on his legacy. But yeah, your point about that's something that the '90s Bulls didn't have to worry about. Nah, they're up 30, on the Clippers
Yeah.
at home. Jordan's got the knees iced up, looking for his next conquest. It's just those those were the type of things that
Yeah.
that the '90s Bulls were doing, and unfortunately, Derrick Rose and that team just didn't have that luxury because they were built on defense. They could shut you down. They could hold you to 85, 90 points. The problem was they weren't going to score, but about 95 points. So you needed them out there. You needed them to finish those games. That's
And
that's
Derrick Rose's injury haunted Thibodeau everywhere he went.
mhm.
Everywhere he went, the
Yeah.
Timberwolves, like, the Knicks, all the places that he went, it's like, "Yep, look at those minutes." And the players, for the most part, especially the veterans, they were like, "Yeah, we didn't mind the minutes. It's the practices. The game was easy. The practices were a bitch." That's the problem. It's like,
But
the games are easy, but those practices, tough.
but that was Tibbs, and you knew where you were getting when you had Tibbs as your coach. That he's gonna, I'm not gonna say run you into the ground, but he's gonna run you hard.
Yeah.
because he knew what you needed to be out there on that court. So he's going to run you hard at practice, because if you can't do this during practice, you're not going to be able to do it in the game when it matters. If you're down 8, you need to come back in the fourth quarter, or if you're up 8, you need to hold the lead. Like, this is what we go through practice for.
Do you ever see that story on TikTok from Joakim Noah about Kyle Korver? You ever see that story?
I haven't seen that story.
Joakim Noah is on some podcast. Was it the Smoke podcast? All the Smoke. I'm not sure where it was. I just saw him on a podcast. Joakim Noah tells great stories. We really need our Chicago athletes that were popular to stick around the crib a little bit more. It's
Yeah,
not. I know it's not their crib, but I mean, being in Chicago, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
it's more of those guys that need to be around Chicago, because as our music artists leave and never come back, um, I think that our athletes should stick around Chicago to get loved on. Joakim Noah told the story about Kyle Korver. Joakim Noah goes in the facility. He opens the door and he looks back and he sees Kyle Korver in his car outside of the facility. And Joe like leans into the front door, and then slowly the window comes down of Kyle Korver's ride. And Joe's like, "What you doing?" And Kyle says, "I don't know if I could do this." He said, "What do you mean you can't do this?" He goes, "I'm just," he said, "Practice at 2." I go, he said, "I'll be in there at 1:59." He said, I can't focus, man. I can't do this." He didn't want to go into the gym, man, because he knew how hard that practice was. 2 o'clock practice. He goes, "I'll be in there 1:59. Trust me, I'll be in there." Because so that's how difficult it was, freaking out Kyle Korver. Like, he knows when he goes into that building to practice, it was gonna be hell. He just knew it's gonna be a 2.5 hour practice. So Kyle Korver just like sitting in his ride, holding in his steering wheel, even though it's in park, and just staring ahead, looking at that door. Like, when I go in there, Thibodeau's gonna rip my head off. That's what it was, man. But I mean, all those guys played hard, obviously, for Tom.
Yeah, and they loved him, and
Yeah.
they respected him. They, I'm sure, hated the fact that he was going to run them hard in practices, but they respected him for it because it showed out there on the court, and the type of effort that they put in on a night in, night out basis.
All right, Charles Taylor. I gave you some good thoughts about Pooh and Derrick Rose. Now we gotta go back to reality. See the roller coaster we going on under the hood?
Yeah,
Bad, good, nostalgic, back into the shitter. Okay, so let's talk about the trade deadline. So the trade deadline is February 5th, and we're used to the phone not being on. It's on Do Not Disturb for Karnisovas and Eversley,
mhm.
because they don't like to make any major moves or try to upset anything. Yes, it is clear in your columns, in your blogs, in your videos that the Chicago Bulls should be able to pick a lane. You don't have the balls to be able to add to this team and add scoring like you should to be in a top
Mhm.
5 team. They don't have the wherewithal. They don't have the common sense to do that. And so the question is, do you have the balls to tank? Can you go to Michael Reinsdorf after being a underwhelming team in your regime to say, yes, Michael, we're going to get rid of players and we're going to start this thing over? I don't think that Karnisovas, again, I can only go by what he's done and not done in that chair. Charles, like, he doesn't have the balls to tell Michael Reinsdorf, yeah, your little lights that are on in late April for the play-in or playoff, yeah, we're not going to have that this year. Could you imagine that? Now, you would think they're all millionaires, like, does it matter? But to the Reinsdorfs, it does matter to have that extra playoff game or two, or that playing
Mhm.
game. It does matter to them.
Oh yeah, of course it does. But I think if you're going to really value what you do as a general manager or as a VP of basketball operations, you just have to be real with yourself and sit back and say, this is hell we're in. And it's not going to get any better. So look what we're going to do, Michael Reisdorf. We got to blow this thing up. Okay. I don't know about you, but I can't keep doing another 3 or 4 years of watching this team go 40 and 42 or 41 and 41 and maybe winning a play-in tournament game, but losing the game to actually get into the playoffs. we can't keep doing this year after year. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to blow this thing up. We're just going to get bad. I mean, we're going to get like early aughts, Washington Wizards bad. Like that's how bad. That's how bad we're going to get. But we need lottery picks. We need some type of assets that we can use to somehow get better, whether it's a high lottery pick, whether it's just getting under the cap and you can actually make a play for a real free agent, to be a cornerstone of your franchise. You got to do something because the team that they have now, you can't go out and say, hey, maybe we can get Giannis to play with Buzelis. Giannis isn't coming here. He knows what this team is. You're not going to get other players to be like, hey, I think I'd like to go play in Chicago. No one wants to play for Chicago. So your only option at this point is to blow it up and completely start over.
Stars want to play with stars. There are no stars in the Bulls. Like we again, there are stars for Chicago basketball, but not stars as far as like, you know what? In the AAU type of way, I want to play with this guy, and it'll increase the chances of me winning a championship. That's all these young guys want to do, Charles. They just want to win a championship. So let's go through some names here. So let's start with would you like to start with Coby White or Vooch? Which one will you want to start with?
Let's start with Coby White because we know the story on Vooch.
All right, because I'm gonna tell you about both. So since you asked, I will start with Coby White. So we know he's an unrestricted free agent this summer. He rejected a 4-year, $87 million deal, and he was right to do that. That was this past offseason. 4 years, $87 million for Coby. He's like, the way I shoot the basketball, I probably should be over $100 million. Probably should. The way I can either a 6-man or just like an extra guard, like, I probably can give you on a good team 18.
Yeah.
Because other people got to shoot the basketball. On this team, of course, he's a star because it's the Bulls. But I mean, like on a good team with other prolific scorers from the outside that can shoot the three, 17, 18, and you could take that. So he turned down that money, unrestricted free agent. He's looking in the neighborhood of well over $100 million, 18.8 points a game, 4.7 assists. There are some suitors for Coby White. Teams that have inquired about Coby White, from what I understand, are the Timberwolves, the Clippers, the Rockets, the Mavs, and the Cavs. So as I talked to a front office executive, the Mavs will not do that. The Mavs only have one pick in June, and after that, they don't have control of their pick the next 6 years. Okay, so cross the Mavs out. Even though they could use a dynamic guard, go along with Cooper Flagg, let's like someone could control the ball and also knock down shots. It's not going to be the Mavs. But the Timberwolves, maybe Minnesota. Even though they have their eyes right now, if I understand, on Ja Morant. Ja Morant at Minneapolis. Let's weigh that right now.
Yeah.
How does that work? I think that works right now.
In the current climate that we're in right now, Ja Morant in Minneapolis may not be the best idea.
I mean, I keep hearing how quote unquote dangerous Memphis is for our Grizzlies. I don't know if you've been reading that or hearing like Memphis is not a good spot anymore. But Minneapolis, they don't play in St. Paul, by the way. I think they play in Minneapolis proper. So that's the thing. So they're looking at Ja. Cavs, probably not, unless there's a bigger deal in place. Could the Bulls get Garland? That's a question.
I mean, I kind of would take that trade.
It's on the table.
Yeah.
Could be on the table.
I think I would take that trade because here's the thing with the Bulls. They're guard heavy.
Yes.
And I just think you just need something a little different. I think you need to get a little bit more size. Garland can bring you that. Would it suck giving up Coby? Yes. But if Modest is supposed to be the guy that you're claiming he is, and you have a literal, triple-double machine in Josh Giddey, I think you can afford to let Kobe White go in exchange for Darius Garland. I would take that trade.
Okay. So let me ask you this. Who's a better player on this Bulls team? Josh Giddey or Kobe White?
I might get killed for this. I'm probably going to say Josh Giddey, and here's why: because his all-around game is better. He's going to give you 7 assists, 7 boards every night, and if his shot is on, he can also probably light you up for 20 to 25 points. Kobe, as good as he can be scoring the ball, if he's not scoring the ball, he then becomes a bit of a liability because of his size. You can take Kobe down to the hole. Kobe's only what, 6'2", 6'3"?
Yeah.
Josh Giddey's 6'8". So you've got a bigger guard there. I'm going to say Josh Giddey right now is the better player.
The reason why I ask you that is because who do the Bulls pay? They pay Josh Giddey.
And remember what I said before the season start. If they were serious about keeping Kobe White, you would have signed him to a deal. Instead, you had AK coming out here, him and Holland talking about, oh, we love Kobe and we're excited to keep him. No, if you were excited to keep him, you would have signed him before the season started instead of letting the contracts lapse to where he becomes an unrestricted free agent.
I mean, they offered him the 487, just wasn't. That's light.
Yeah, they thought they could lowball him, and Kobe understands his worth as a scorer in this league. So
Ayo Dosunmu would be the monopoly man. He'd be swimming in money for 487.
Oh, for
Ayo
sure.
Dosunmu. I'm just saying, but for Kobe, and here's the thing, I'm not overrating Kobe. I just told you he's a nice player, right? On a good team, little microwave, heat up your team, absolutely. But on this team, he's looking for superstar money or something along those lines, and the Bulls are not willing to give it to him. And what would be good right now if you're a Bulls fan? Yes. Alexander James Whiskey, the official whiskey for Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Let me just tell you right now, I want you to go to the website, alexanderjameswhiskey.com, and make sure you pick up some Alexander James Whiskey because Jesse Stewart does a great job of making sure that all 49 of 50 states have Alexander James Whiskey. Guess what?
What state doesn't?
I want you to guess. It's in the league.
It's in the league.
It's in the NBA, yeah.
Indiana?
The Indiana's just dry on Sunday.
Oh, okay. All right.
You talk about all that moonshine and those stills in the woods of Indiana, they got alcohol.
Well,
give me the one city that's in the league. It's one state in the league that
Oh, Salt Lake City, Utah.
That's right. Utah, right. Alexander James Whiskey. So here it is right here, folks. Make sure you go to the website, alexanderjameswhiskey.com, a fine partner of Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. They support us. We want you to support Alexander James Whiskey. Okay, so that's our thoughts on Kobe White. I would tell you, Charles, that if anyone is going to be traded, it's going to be Kobe White. However, from what I understand, just a couple people, it's not like 5 or 6 people I talked to, but there's some people that are dealing with the Bulls that feel like, trying to paraphrase it, so that AK has his thumb on the scale, meaning that he's looking for a little bit more than what these Bulls really deserve in a trade. For instance, Vucevic. Let's talk about him. Vucevic and Billy Donovan get along. Vucevic is worked well with this Bulls team, and like I say all the time, he steps on the floor, gives you a double-double. He can do that, right? He can definitely do that, and he works well with this system. But there's a rumored innuendo out there of Vucevic for Anthony Simons and a draft pick to Boston, and the Celtics are like, nah, we're good. Even though Vucevic can come on the floor and give you double digits offense, double-digit rebounds, like, nah, we like our team. That's what Boston said. So that's a rumor out there that they picked up the phone to call for Anthony Simons in a draft pick, a first-round draft pick, by the way, not a second round. And the Boston Celtics like, nah, kid, get out of here, scram. So that's just a thought of overvaluing your players. Because I would imagine on the other side of the phone, it's like, well, if you think they're that good, you should keep them. If you think they're worth a first round draft pick, is there anyone besides Kobe White for real that can warrant a first round draft pick? I'm talking about out of the veterans, not the young players.
Oh, out of the veterans? No.
Okay.
No. I mean, Vooch is 35. I mean, to even suggest offering or wanting a first round pick back for a 35-year-old center is laughable. That's why the league, is going around. It's like, no, the Bulls aren't serious. They can't be serious. You can't make, trade requests like that. That would be like me going to the ESPN thing and drafting up trade scenarios. Yeah, let me get for Vooch, let me get your best 2 players and a first round draft pick. It fits under the contract. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
They from the source says they love him and he's a good vet. He's bought into Billy Donovan and the Bulls. That's the message I got. He has. That's true, but I'm like, but he's an older asset, and you're not getting, at least I don't believe, unless you can find a dope, and there's a number of those in the NBA, it's going to give you a first-round draft pick for Vucevic.
He's got 2 more years left on his deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. If you think you can try to swing something with Vooch with 2 years left with a 35-year-old player that's past his prime,
no, that's not happening. I'm just telling you what's out there, Charles, so you can have an understand, so you can get on like Kermit on the typewriter, so you can start typing this stuff up on the blog, because this is this is what's being out there. This is why there's certain people in the league that look at the Bulls and go, tee, like, oh, here come the Bulls. And they're just like, there's people that text me, Charles. This is not a flex. We're talking Bulls, so I think we need to talk about this.
Mm-hmm.
There are people that are in front offices, not necessarily in the highest places, but they're in the offices, and they're saying, what are you all doing? I said, you are in the NBA. I'm just like, why are you asking me? It's like they just look at this whole thing and they look at the spreadsheet, they look at this contracts, they look at the one-loss record, and I get a text message, could be even South Florida, that could ask me, and they go, what are you all doing? It's like, what are you doing? It's like, I don't know. I said, usually my response is nothing. Bulls aren't doing anything. So,
and they haven't been doing anything for the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm not expecting much, if anything, for the Bulls come the trade deadline. They may pick up a player, here and there, but it's going to be someone that will bring no real value to the team other than ensuring that they're like the 9 seed again.
And then on Under the Hood a couple of days ago was the Silver Fox, Kendall Gill. There he was, the Silver Fox, Kendall Gill, who apparently, Charles, he tells me that you are a possibility to be in the Silver Fox Club. And for those that did not catch that interview, Kendall says you need to be able to have a gray beard, Dobbs hat, Stetson hat, come clean, boots, suited and booted, and you can be part of his club. And I can't grow a beard, so it looks like I'm out. But apparently you can, I think, in the future, if you let it grow out and you get a little Grady,
Yeah, the gray is it's not coming in as much. You would think with 2 very energetic kids that I would have a lot more gray. Nah, it's not happening. The black is hanging on, which I'm cool with.
If nothing else, the Bulls will make your beard gray, but apparently not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough, not nearly enough.
So the Silver Fox, there he is, Kendall Gill, said on Under the Hood that when I asked him, I said, what are the Bulls gonna do at the deadline, Kendall? It's Kendall, right? Silver Fox, CHSN. He tells me, well, Hood, I would go after Giannis. All right. Yeah, me and everybody else. So I want to give you this story before we talk about Giannis. And so did you see this from? Well, it's on Twitter at Black Millions underscore. That's some of you follow Black Millions underscore
No, but maybe I should.
under Black Millionaires. There was a story there from there, and also there's one on Complex. We both follow that on Complex.
Mm-hmm.
So Giannis has launched a new parent company with his brothers to put his family businesses to the test. So Giannis has right now a global portfolio of businesses, brand holdings, and investment assets and organizations for social impact. So Giannis's family real estate firm are side hustles with his brothers, Costas, Alex, and Thanasis.
Mm-hmm.
And so they have a real estate portfolio. They have been scooping up and buying apartments in Brooklyn, some in Wisconsin, and Chicago.
Don't do that. Don't
It's
do
right
that.
here. I didn't make that up. It's right here. See? It's on my iPad. Go to my iPad, Roland Martin. Go to my iPad. In recent months, the firm's investments have exceeded $69 million, and its latest Chicago acquisition is the biggest one yet.
Nah, nope. I'm not gonna buy into the conspiracy theories. Could Giannis come here?
This man does not know I'm on the air right now. Look at this. You know what I do with that? Voicemail.
Good old Cap. Could Giannis come here? Yeah, he could. He could come here.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have to give up a lot to get him, and if you do that, sure, you get Giannis in a big market. You instantly become a real contender in the East. But what do you have to give up to get him? You're going to have to give up quite a bit to bring in Giannis. I'm sure the untouchable piece in this is Buzelis in that equation, where as long as Buzelis stays, I think they could try to swing some type of deal. Do I think it's realistic?
No, but it's funny that Kendall said you gotta get Giannis because you're not getting Giannis for a ham sandwich. Do you understand? So you make a deal, you trade 3 or 4 Bulls, trade 3 Bulls and some of your future assets. How many wins for the Bulls with Giannis on the team?
So if we're
like Giannis,
Buzelis, I would imagine Josh Giddey would have to be in that trade.
Yep.
So it's Buzelis and Giannis and Patrick Williams.
Yeah, because you're not moving that deal. Yes.
I don't know, 44 wins, 45 wins, maybe. Is that because Giannis, and Giannis has been in the league for a good minute now. But he's going to be the type of player that will bring you some credibility, and people are going to have to focus on him. Now, can Modest feed off of that and, take his game to the next level where they can kind of become this, guard or, swing man, forward combo?
Mm-hmm.
Possibly. But the players that you would have to give up, you'd have to give up a lot of scoring because Giddey's in that trade, Kobe's in that trade, and that's close to 50 points right there. So now you're going to ask people like Io to have to try and score 20 a night, and that's not Io's game. Isaac Okoro is going to have to score 10 points a game, so that's not going to happen.
That's not happening.
So,
but it's just funny because it's like Bulls fans are licking their chops, and just like anything else around here, Carmelo wants to be with the Chicago Bulls. Hike up my skirt. Carmelo wants to be here. LeBron and Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade are coming to Chicago. Hike up my skirt. Drop my panties. Oh my God, here come. That's not happening, bro. Like that's just because the Bulls can't get out of their own way. It's not Giannis, even though I just floated that out there just to give you a little tease about how the Antetokounmpo brothers are buying up properties in Brooklyn and in Milwaukee and Chicago. It doesn't mean that he's coming here, but there are some places where he could go. Okay. And so I go to the Athletic, and there's a couple of places that he can go.
Mm-hmm.
Why is this guy blowing my phone up? This is crazy.
Did somebody get traded? Did the White Sox pick up somebody? Please say the White Sox picked up somebody.
If the White Sox did pick up somebody, guess what? He wouldn't be calling me. It's the Sox. So here's some spots for you. Giannis to the Atlanta Hawks. Okay. So Giannis to Atlanta Hawks. I would not advise that for him to be with the Atlanta Hawks. Jalen Johnson and Ray Shear and New Orleans 2026 first round pick. Giannis to the Hawks. Giannis in Atlanta. You know what that sounds like?
Milwaukee South.
Sounds like Milwaukee South. Sounds like a superstar like Trae Young in the mix and a team that can't get over the hump. That wouldn't be a good spot for him in the A. Absolutely not.
No.
From there, what else do we have? Oh, the Houston Rockets. That would be it's already the biggest team in NBA history, Charles.
Yeah.
But could you imagine Houston Rockets for cleaning the glass? Apparently that is a website. The Rockets are 5th in both offense and defensive rating, but the head coach, Ime Udoka, who had the biggest fumble in the history of relationships, obsesses over being able to play physical defense with a full roster of versatile defenders. Could you imagine Kevin Durant and Giannis on the floor together?
Scary. Very scary.
Giannis to the Warriors. So the Bucks get an injured Jimmy Butler, an injured Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, Podominski, the guard, Golden State's 2028 first-round draft pick, Golden State's 2030 first-round draft pick, 2032 first-round draft pick, and the rights to swap Golden State's 2031 pick. And the Warriors get Antetokounmpo and Kyle Kuzma.
Maybe Steph gets one last run, but that's about it. Maybe.
Giannis would be criticized so much for taking the easy route by going to the Warriors, but the Warriors are not the Warriors anymore. Like that's not the same team. Like Steph's not winning another championship. We know this, right? Like it's over.
It is. It's over, and I probably wouldn't advise that trade either.
I would not either. So again, the deadline is February 5th. And the one thing about Giannis I do want to talk to you about is the passive aggressiveness, right? So here's a big fish in a small pond, small pound or pond. So there you have it, CJ. He's in Milwaukee. He goes, I love Milwaukee. I say, you do? You do? You love Milwaukee? He loves it there for his family. No one bothers him. He can go to the store. No one really messes with him. He's in Milwaukee, right? It's like Chappelle in that little town in Ohio. In a lot of ways. Why doesn't guys just buy the town in around the suburbs of Milwaukee? Kind of like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, that would probably make more sense to him. Yes, the big fish in the small pond. He gets out there and talks about, how he wants to stay in Milwaukee. He's won them a title. He wants to finish his career, but then, he's got his people, making these overtures, to other teams across the league about, how he's sick of, having to continue to literally barely drag this team to the playoffs to, be a first or second round exit. And for Giannis, he's at the point in his career now where he's looking at some of his contemporaries with more rings, and it's like, hey, I got this one, but having 2 or 3 wouldn't hurt either. I'm not going to get that here. So I need to passive aggressively force the Bucks to trade me somewhere to a contender where I can, spend the rest of my career, running around trying to chase titles. It's weird that he doesn't just come out and say, hey, look, just trade me, guys. Just get me out of here.
He doesn't want to be the bad guy, though, Charles. That's the thing. And sometimes if you feel like there's a disconnect with Doc, which I hear that as well, and you feel like the organization's not doing their due diligence to give you players that you could play with, hey, man, look, this is Lou Alcindor all over again. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yeah.
Jabbar went in there, won a championship for Milwaukee, peaced out, went to the Lakers. And Milwaukee was grateful. And there's people in Milwaukee is grateful that they were able to see a championship with Milwaukee. And you know what? Listen, if the organization is not equipped to be able to give that man in his prime talent, then it's time to move on. And I got no problem with that. But from Giannis' standpoint, he gives a thumbs down to the fans in Milwaukee because they were booing the team in Milwaukee on his home floor, and he was not happy about it, right? He gives them a thumbs down. Wasn't happy about that. And then he was on the road and they lost yet another game. I don't know why they lost, but they lost. And, he was up there in his locker just talking about how I don't understand why we are not connected as a team, and kind of criticizing his teammates and criticizing the way that they're playing. I'm like, oh, so you're crying out to leave. When you start doing that shit, it's like, oh, you're ready to go. You're ready to be up. But he won't pull the trigger on it. It's up to my agent. No, it's up to you, bro. It's up to your agent. If you want to go, who's going to tell you like that you're a bad guy for leaving? I mean, because this generation, Charles, does not want to be, not trying to take a shot, but they don't want to be Reggie Miller. They don't want to be in like one city, trapped in the city for 20 years and never win a championship. They don't, and they feel like that's less than. You and I know different. Everybody just can't win the championship, right? They look at Charles Barkley as like a clown prince, like, he's good on TV, but he never won. And like he ain't tried. He's got all that time with Philly. Like he tried. And he's like, okay, I'm gonna go to Phoenix. Phoenix, the team I thought that the Bulls would lose to because of how talented they were. Ainge, Barkley.
Oh, don't get me started on that 93 team. Cedric Ceballos.
Oh my God.
That team was stacked. And somehow they couldn't, pull through. But still, Charles Barkley, let's not act like this dude is one of the greatest power forwards to ever pick up a basketball and play. But we look at, when I say we, society looks at him the same way society looks at Dan Marino.
Yep.
The talented athlete, never won a Super Bowl. He's still one of the best ever to pick up a football and throw it. Same thing with Charles Barkley, same thing with Reggie Miller, same thing with Karl Malone. Minus the,
Don't do that. Don't do that.
But Giannis has to be that guy. He's gotta pick a lane and make a decision on what he wants to do. If he wants out, just say it. I want out. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. Trade me somewhere where I can win a title.
As one Robert Kelly once saying, even little Aaliyah's got it. She's got that. She was only 15, 16. He can give you that lyric, right?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Get married early in Michigan, apparently. But nonetheless, so I look at that and I'm just like, if Giannis, you want to go, man, just go, man. You San Antonio, work with Wemby. You can go to some places to increase your chance to win. And for some time, sometimes it's time for a fresh coat of paint. Sometimes you just got to leave. And so leaving Milwaukee, you're not going to get booed. If you get booed, who cares? They'll get over it. You brought a championship there that they hadn't seen since Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was on the floor. So all good with that. I'd like to be able to end our podcast, sir, by talking about the King.
Okay.
No, this is that's not 15 minutes on Dr. King. I'm talking about,
no.
LeBron James.
That one. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, LeBron James. If you're watching on YouTube, you see it. But if you're listening on the podcast, what you see is LeBron James trying to dab his eyes because he's crying. And the reason why he's crying is because the Cleveland Cavaliers gave him, a video tribute. His son, Bronny, is with him on the bench, and a standing ovation and a lot of love for LeBron James. And so I wondered earlier this week, I said it on ESPN Chicago, I said it on the podcast, whether or not did we see the last of LeBron James at the United Center? You notice in that first half, he took it over, right? He was like, give me
Mhm.
the ball, give me the ball, give me the ball. He didn't play as well in the second half, but he's 41. Like he's
Yeah.
not turning the clock back 20 years. I mean, the dude at 41 is doing what Tom Brady did at the end of his career. It's crazy that he's getting it done.
Yeah.
Actually, LeBron's doing more because he's out there every other night
Mhm.
at 41. He's skipping back-to-backs.
Yeah.
He's 41. I get him. That's a lot of mileage on that body. The leading scorer in the history of the league. And that made me wonder, I'm like, did we see LeBron for the last time in Chicago? And I wasn't there. I watched the game, but with Cleveland, with the way he was crying, it made me think that he doesn't want for a guy that loves the attention. Oh,
Mhm.
I loves the attention. No, enough about me. Let's talk more about me. I don't think he's gonna get that rocking chair thing. He's not gonna get like the plaques he goes around the league and gets off. I don't know if he's gonna get a tour, but the way he was sobbing, and by the way, the tissue right underneath the chair. It was right there underneath the chair
Mhm.
as he was crying. There happened to be tissue right there because NBA players need the tissue,
Yeah, of
not a
course.
towel, tissue.
Yeah.
All good. That's not planned at all. But I wonder, was that the last time we see him play in Cleveland in the regular season?
I said before the season started, this should be his last year. And I think only he really knows. I think this is his last year. Um, I know some of his people are saying he wants to play another year. I think he knows his body is betraying him. And he's at the point now where he can't do the LeBron stuff. Like he there's gonna be nights where he's gonna give you 35, 10, and 10. And you're gonna be like, oh, he still got it. No, he doesn't. It's just for that one night where he can give you 35, 10, and 10. He can't do that on a consistent basis. And if he can't do that on a consistent basis, then what are you still doing? Because now it looks like you're just hanging on for the sake of hanging on, maybe to try to eclipse every NBA record, in the books. I don't, as much as, like you said, he loves the attention. And believe me, he loves the attention. He loves it. I think he's also a student of the game. And he understands that for me to continue to stick around, it's probably a bad look. It's a bad look to the league. It's a bad look to my brand. It's probably time for me to step away. I think that's why he got emotional. He's coming to grips with himself that this is the end, and he needs to find a way to kind of bow out gracefully. He's not going to get the Kareem rocking chair,
No.
where everyone gives him plaques and toys and boats and all this other type of stuff. He's not going to do that because it's the modern NBA, and I don't think they just are going to really do that type of stuff. For even a player as great as he is. I mean, they didn't do it for Kobe. They didn't do it for Michael. They don't really do that. You just kind of walk away from the game. You just say thanks for everything. It's been real, and then you just move on.
I think LeBron understands, like, hey man, I've done everything I can for the game. He's not winning another championship.
No.
And he's also not going to be one of these guys on the end of the bench like, Buda Edwards
Mm-hmm.
and Robert Parrish
Yeah.
holding on to win a championship, because you know what? In this generation, there is no such thing. It's not like he said, trade me to Oklahoma City, I'll sit on the bench. Like that doesn't happen today, Charles, like it did back in the day. You saw that gravy train of the Bulls or like the Pistons or like others, like, yeah, just give me vet minimum. I just want to hang out with these guys. I want to be like a coach in the locker room.
Mhm.
You don't do that anymore. Like you don't.
No.
The problem is a lot of issues with this league, but one of them is that you don't have the old head in the room anymore. Like Haslam, Udonis Haslam with the Heat was the last one.
Mhm.
And just a dude at the end of the bench, just like, you ain't got to play me. I'll police the locker room.
Yeah.
That's the problem. The oldest guy's like 28. He ain't seen nothing.
Yeah.
29.
It's a different league now.
Yeah.
Gone, like you say, gone are the days of Udonis Haslam. Tyson Chandler's hung on for a while.
Yeah.
until he became the old head and tried to got Derrick Rose. D Rose played 16 years, and kind of became a mentor of sorts to some of the younger players, in his stops in New York and Memphis. Yeah, that's not happening anymore. And I think this is just me. I think you need the old head, in the locker room to police these young
Yeah.
guys, because it brings stability, to the team. Because as talented as these young guys are, they need somebody in there with some form of experience. They're not going to listen to their coach, really, for that. You need a Charles Oakley in there, maybe to slap somebody around, you know, on the practice court every now and then. But he's also going to give you knowledge.
Yeah. Tell us about the blog, where we can find you on social media, sir.
YouTube, TikTok, Blue Sky, Threads. That's where you can find me. There's will be a lot more ranting and raving about this Bulls team and the NBA and where it's headed next. I'm trying my best to get back into wrestling, so you'll see a few things on that as well on the CTJ report.
You had to get back into wrestling, sir, because you and I need to talk about this.
Yeah, this is it's gonna be a very weird weekend.
You think a Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia? You think it might be a little strange?
Yeah, it's gonna be a little strange.
There's no question about that. Yes, we have our Tuesday Wrestling Tuesday. There it is in the right-hand corner there. We do have it. So Charles does not know this, but we're going to be having wrestling talk every now and then here on Under the Hood, because wrestling is it's not red hot. It's commercial, which is very strange. A lot of WWE superstars on First Take and on Sportsmanlike and a lot of different TV shows, and there's a lot of taken for granted in WWE lately. Very similar to UFC and maybe Zuffa Boxing now, where it's like, yeah, just give me your money and we'll just put on what we put on. We're gonna price you out, or if you can pay for it, cool, but we're not gonna go all in and give you like fireworks in the sky. The fireworks show is like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
In wrestling parlance these days, it's not for an hour. It's like 10 minutes. And so we can talk about that. Be glad to talk to you about that, sir.
Absolutely.
We'll talk about that as well. Well, I know that fitness goes really well. It's a big thing in the Charles Taylor household, but that's okay. Even with fitness and getting on that Peloton and all those steps that you and the wife take, it's all good, man. It's all good. But you know what? Sometimes you just need a little BAM. You need a little Alexander James whiskey. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
I believe the health benefits are great, especially for this barrel proof I'm holding right now. Yes, always very good.
Except if you live in Utah.
Yeah, except Utah, right. And it's, again, 49 states, but not Utah. Utah, get on it, alexanderjameswhiskey.com. This is where you go right here. Jesse Stewart does a great job of telling everyone about Alexander James Whiskey. It's the official whiskey of Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. Sir, always a pleasure. I know it's dinner time. Tell her to keep it warm.
Yeah, she's. We're not going to have that discussion right now.
But there was I'm talking about the food. Keep it warm. That's what I was referring.
No, that's definitely that. Yeah, I've already gotten about 6 side eyes so far. So.
Is she mad at me?
No, she's mad at me
because you're doing the podcast.
Well, not because of that, but it is dinner time. So yeah, she's giving me the side eye now.
Well,
we're good. We're good though. We're good.
I didn't choose the time.
Yeah, I know I did.
Yeah, I didn't choose the time for dinner. You chose the time. You chose the time for the podcast, sir. I just do. I follow your lead.
Hey, this works. This works. We'll be fine. We'll be fine.
Okay, I don't want her mad at me because I think she's a fan.
No, she'll never be mad at you. As long as you keep having me on the podcast, she'll never be mad at you.
Okay, all right. Because I'm a supporter of her on social media, so I don't want her to be mad at me. Yes,
I know. Yeah, you're one of her biggest supporters. So
yeah. So listen, it's all good. It's all good. I got him, Miss Taylor. I got him. Don't worry about it. So that's how that goes, sir. Always a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me on as always, sir.
Make sure you keep it locked. Like, share, subscribe, and comment to our conversation about the Bulls and the NBA right here on Under the Hood with Jonathan Hood. We'll talk to you next time. It's time for dinner. So long, everybody.